Your assigner probably is someone who's also been through it. Use them to help you get through the experience. So here is where we come to the play clip. And I say it's that easy. I title it that because it's that easy to make a mistake. Hopefully it plays all right for you guys. And while you're watching it, I would like you to think about how you would handle this. And I'll just sort of preempt it in case it plays kind of choppy for you. You're going to see a foul that calls itself. We're going to go to shots on the foul where you'll see the free throw shooter, and then the camera will pan to the lane and you will see something happen there. And when it finishes playing, I'm going to move to the next slide and I'm going to have you select how you would administer what you see occur in this play. So we're going to give it a go.
His system, and he says, I ask her a quick question. Do you want to be great or not? Anytime there's an issue, do you want to be great?
And she does. She wants to be great. She wanted it coming out of high school. She's getting to that point now. But what a beautiful execution. Offense by Northwestern. The feed by Nia Coffey and the finish by Maggie Lyon. That's a good 1-2 punch right there.
So the lefty misses it, but may get another opportunity, says official Tina Napier. A little extra elbow down low. I think Bowen and Roser. Don't you love it when officials have conferences?
Well, yeah, they're really talking this one out. And it did look like she was pointing at Jasmine Bowen from Arkansas, like she pushed, she put the arm out and maybe a little too strong on the box out.
So Lyon will get another opportunity. All Big Ten honorable mention this season. Maggie Lyon gets that to go down the lead.
Now I'm going to play this again before I put the scenarios up for you. And once again, I'll work you through this a little bit in case it's choppy. We have a regular foul, as you'll see. Then it'll go to the shooter. Then it'll pan to the lane. And then it'll pan, obviously, to the discussion with the officials. Here we go.
His system, and he says, I ask her a quick question. Do you want to be great or not? Anytime there's an issue, do you want to be great?
And she does. She wants to be great. She wanted it coming out of high school. She's getting to that point now. But what a beautiful execution. Offense by Northwestern. The feed by Nia Coffey and the finish by Maggie Lyon. That's a good 1-2 punch right there.
So the lefty misses it, but may get another opportunity, says official Tina Napier. A little extra elbow down low. I think Bowen and Roser. Don't you love it when officials have conferences?
Well, yeah, they're really talking this one out. And it did look like she was pointing at Jasmine Bowen from Arkansas, like she pushed, she put the arm out and maybe a little too strong on the box out.
So Lyon will get another opportunity. All Big Ten honorable mention this season. Maggie Lyon gets that to go down the lead.
Okay. Here are your scenarios. You make the decision. Give you about a minute. I'm going to guess some of you would probably like to see the play again. So I'm going to go back one frame. For those of you that would like to see it again, I'm going to play it again.
His system, and he says, I ask her a quick question. Do you want to be great or not? Anytime there's an issue, do you want to be great?
And she does. She wants to be great. She wanted it coming out of high school. She's getting to that point now. But what a beautiful execution. Offense by Northwestern. The feed by Nia Coffey and the finish by Maggie Lyon. That's a good 1-2 punch right there.
There's your 42 red,
So the
and there's your
lefty
42 white.
misses it, but may get another opportunity, says official Tina Napier. A little extra elbow down low. I think Bowen and Roser. Don't you love it when officials have conferences?
Well, yeah, they're really talking this one out. And it did look like she was pointing at Jasmine Bowen from Arkansas, like she pushed, she put the arm out and maybe a little too strong on the box out.
So Lyon will get another opportunity. All Big Ten honorable mention this season. Maggie Lyon gets that one to go down the lead.
Aaron, just a couple of notes.
Yeah.
So it is a little choppy, as we knew it would be. Did the initial shot go in?
I can't answer that. That's part of the process.
All right, just because it was a little
Good question.
on that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put the poll question up, which is gonna be the same responses on the You Make decision as we're seeing on the PowerPoint
Excellent.
screen, and I'd like everyone to please submit their answer as best they can. We know it's a little tricky, but give your best answer. So the poll question should be up now. So just go ahead and answer it, and we'll give it a bit of time. I'll close it in about 45 seconds or when the vote is done.
Great.
Karen, it must also be very nice to be dealing with trouble situations when you're on ESPN. How does that factor into the stress and anxiety of a referee?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's fantastic. I tell you. I would imagine that that might be a question that's asked later, and I'm quite sure people are going to want to know what happened with the entire scenario and how we came out of it and so on. But yeah, not a place you really want to be making a mistake.
No.
That's probably, that's probably the epitome of the last place you want to make one. Let's just put it that way.
No doubt.
You can imagine.
Okay, folks, everyone's completed the voting. If you haven't completed the voting, you have 20 seconds left.
Oh, that's interesting. There we go.
5 seconds left. Come on, people, get your votes in. Okay, I'm closing it. 85% of the votes were in. This is like the federal election. 49% Karen said scenario 3. 29% said scenario 4, and there was a split of 11% between 1 and 2.
All right. Let's leave that to the end. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Or do we want to do it now?
Absolutely. It's up to you.
What do you think? What are people saying? Let's leave it for the end. Nah, let's do it now.
Do it now then.
Okay, we'll do it now. Those of you that said answer 3, you are correct. Answer 3 is the correct way to administer this scenario. So, you already know, obviously, we made a mistake. We're going to come back to that. But that said, recovery from a colossal mistake. Michael asked a very question about what's, it must be whatever to make a mistake on national TV. Everybody sees it, and it's huge. So now what? How do you recover for something like this? Who's going to care, first of all? Who is going to care that you made a mistake like this? Obviously, your assigners, once again. Your partners are going to care. The coaches are going to care. Because guess what? When you make a mistake like that, people talk. They start talking about you. They all talk. You find out who your true friends are, I'll tell you that much. Some people will go right on. So-and-so made a mistake. Excellent. Maybe I'll get some of their games. Some people will be like, oh my God, I feel so bad for my friend. Or, oh my God, what would I do if I was in this situation? It's difficult to know. People are talking about you, and everybody has seen it. And when that happens to you, you really learn a lot about yourself and what you can take and what you can't take. And I'll tell you one thing I learned, and this is where I'll curb myself, and I will not swear. I learned that the best way to deal with all of that stuff I just explained to you is to say, F them. They're not there. They are not in the heat of the moment. They did not have to go through that. And I would like to see them on the floor in the heat of the moment having to deal with that and see what that would do, because it's pretty damn easy to go, oh, so-and-so screwed that up when you're sitting on your couch. When you get back on the court after having something like this happen to you, everyone's going to be wondering, have you made it back from that big mistake that we all just saw? You're going to be under a microscope, so you have to be ready. And how do you get ready? You share and you grow from it. Again, you own your mistake. You learn from it. It's crucial to commit to learning from these big mistakes. How do you do that? You revisit your rule book, especially the area you messed up. And the ones that we mess up are the things we don't know that well, because they're things that haven't happened to us. And you don't know what you don't know till it happens. You have to make your rule book something you visit on a regular basis, not just when you have the exam coming up. And you sit there with your pals for the 2 hours we get to write the exam. And Morgan, you know how I feel about that. And yeah, I said it out loud. We need to work on that. You need to revisit your book all the time, not just the one time. Make it a weekly thing where you read an area, the correctable errors, these special situations, whatever it is, you dedicate yourself to that book and you learn it so that you may have a chance of getting things right when crap hits the fan. Share it with other people. Teach other people in clinics. Sit down with a group you mentor. Show them what happened to you. Talk about it. Show them the plays. Ask them what they would do, so that if they encounter it, they have a fighting chance of not making the same mistake you made. At the end of the day, this is what I had to tell myself after making that huge mistake, after a couple other ones earlier in the year, but that was my big one. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. Questions, anyone? Anyone want to share a story? Open her up, Mike.
All right. So excellent job, Karen. So the first question is, did you speak with your partners and how did they fare or how did they react to this situation, either after the game or subsequently into the summertime?
That is a fantastic question, whoever asked that. Absolutely. First thing I did, and this will not be a surprise to any of you, when this occurred, we had no idea we made an error until the game was over, you guys. So let me just share that. We got in the locker room. We got a call from the national coordinator to say, hey, can you clip the play with the foul during the rebound action? We get the game film immediately, of course. We look at it, and our crew chief goes, oh my God. And that's when we realized we made a mistake. We had no idea. So knowing we made a mistake, sending the clips, we knew something was going to come out of it. So where did we go after our game? We went straight to the bar. Yes, we did. So those of you that know me can understand that. The crew chief on our crew, thank the Lord, is like a Canadian. She probably drinks more beer than I do. We sat and talked at the bar, waiting for phone calls from the national coordinator to make a decision on our fate. And we discussed, she is a serious veteran. For those of you that don't know her, her name is Tina Napier, the girl with the dark hair, who's doing most of the talking. She has done the national championship game probably about 10 times, has done the Final Four probably 16 to 20 times. What a great person to be able to sit with and go through a horrific experience. And it just goes to show you how human we all are. That it doesn't matter how many games you've done. Anybody can make an error. And to have her walk the two of us through it, the other official was quite a young official. I think this was her second tournament. And to be able to sit with her and have her help us through this and make us understand it's part of the game. It happens. It sucks that it's on a national stage, but it happens. And that afternoon, we spoke about it until we got our phone calls. And I'm not afraid or ashamed to say that we were all sent home after this game. We were, two of us, myself and the crew chief, were scheduled to stay for round 2. The other official already knew she was leaving, but this was not a way she wanted to leave. When I got home, let me back up. No. Well, the first thing I did when I got back to my hotel room was call my bosses of the conferences I work to let them know. I know they've seen it, but I called them to let them know I made an error and owned it. The next day, when I'm sitting at the airport waiting for my flight, which couldn't have come fast enough, I had 4 flights home, I called our crew chief again and asked how she was doing. And of course, she asked how I was doing, and we discussed it a little further. And I called my other partner and did the same thing. When I got home, I waited for about 3 or 4 days because I was struggling a little bit. And I called my crew chief again to see how she was doing and to talk with her about how I was feeling. And guess what? After that conversation, I said, F them. F the people that are talking. F the people that saw it. I have to move on. It happens. It's not a good feeling, but it happens. So sort of, there's a long answer, but there's my answer.
Very good, very good. And obviously,
Oh, there you go.
I guess the question I have is, and you weren't in that situation where you had to referee, let's say, the next day, but as difficult as it was, how would you have adjusted if you were to continue in the tournament and work that next game? What steps would you have taken to prepare differently or to get over the mistake?
Well, the first thing I would have done is obviously gone to the correctable errors section to make sure I knew that inside and out, and I would have done that obviously that night. In fact, I did hit my rule book, of course, like a crazy woman after that, immediately after, as soon as I got back to my hotel room. That is the first thing I would have done. The next thing I would have done is I would have called my spouse, and that was actually the first thing I would have done. I take that back, and purged it by having a good cry. We all need to do that, and that's my release. And having my spouse, say, hey, you've been here before, maybe not on this stage, but you can get beyond this. You're strong, and do that, and then call one of my mentors and do the same thing, and then call one of my closest friends and do the same thing, and get my head back on straight. And then essentially have a good sleep. Wake up the next day and go, it's over, it's done. I get a chance to make it right today. That's what I would have done.
Excellent. Did anyone in the game know that there was a mistake made by either the bench or the coaches or anyone at all?
Great question. Not one person in the entire gymnasium recognized that we made an error. Not one person. And by the way, has anybody recognized the error we made? Aside from the fact that we didn't call an unsporting foul. Because, of course, it's different in NCAA, but this can still pertain to FIBA. It's a play.
I think you should go ahead and let us know and break it down for us.
In the NCAA world?
Well, just again to kind of summarize maybe what should have happened differently or.
Okay. What should have happened is at the end of the day, most of you hopefully recognized, oh yeah, although the screen was kind of burpy, we had an and one play. We had a double whistle. We had an and one. We acknowledged that we both had the double. The correct official took it to the table, away we went, and the ball was released, and we had a foul called in rebound action, as you saw. We come together, we discuss whether the ball was live or not. We discuss what type of foul. In the NCAA world, we can go to the monitor. I asked my crew chief if we should go to the monitor to see if we want to upgrade the foul. And my crew chief said to me, this is probably one of the only times I have not gone to the monitor for such a foul. She goes, I have no idea why I didn't, but she said, no, I'm totally confident that it's a common foul, regular foul. This is the scenario at hand with our rules. And instead of pushing her a little harder, which I obviously, why? You know, in my brain, I'm like, this woman doesn't make mistakes. I mean, she's done this and that, and she's this person, and I held her on this pedestal and failed to realize she's human. And I should have pushed a little harder. Now, that said, had I pushed her harder to go to the monitor, we may still not have seen all the entirety of the play we needed to see to get it right. But at the end of the day, we failed to recognize that the ball was live when we had the foul occur, and we failed to remember, all three of us, that it was an and one. And that is why she was awarded a second shot. That's the piece we broke down. And I have learned many things from this lesson about myself as an official that I will take forward. And obviously this type of error will never happen again. As far as if I have anything to do with it and I'm on the crew, I will do my best to not let it happen again.
Amazing lesson, and in the fact that three tournament referees, very experienced, can still make a mistake, and it can happen to all of us. So an excellent discussion. That's going to be our time for tonight. Great job, Karen. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone enjoyed this experience and took something from it. Mike made a mistake in this and didn't record the first 10 minutes, so he's going to learn from his mistake. We're all taking something away from this. I'm going to get lambasted by the webinar crew, but that's okay. So I'll live with that, and the next time we'll do better. So this was a great transition in the way you ended this, because I'm going to be doing the next topic for everyone. It's going to be special situations, and I'm going to do a somewhat thorough breakdown of the Canada-Venezuela situation from the semifinals at FIBA America.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm sure there's lots of questions for people that watched that game or didn't watch or heard about it. We're going to break it down, find out what happened, and find out how we need to handle those special situations. And I think you kind of touched on it there a little bit at the end, so it's a really good transition for me. So we didn't plan that out, but excellent job. Thank you very much. And yeah, thanks so much for everyone to participate tonight and join us, and the questions and the interaction and answering the polls. This is a great start for us. Send ABOA your feedback. If this is something that you like and you want more of, you have to let people know, and we will use this technology to expand how we instruct and how we communicate amongst our referees. And again, thanks everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Good night.